And I'm so excited about meeting the other half of Protégé today because this guy is a real winner. Let me introduce you to Richard Schrieber. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Malcolm. Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit more about you and what you do.
Okay, so obviously I'm the co-founder of Protégé with Vikram Gudi, and that is aiming to be a career-focused music production school. Now, I'm going to dive deep into that in a minute, but myself, I am a composer first and foremost, and that's what I do. I earn, not being shy about it, I earn very good money working only a few hours a day, working from home with my family, especially now we're all in lockdown. Primarily it's film trailers that I write music for, which is fantastic because of the huge creative freedom that offers. And again, like I said, I do that all from home on a computer with, I don't know whether you can see these, but I have instruments behind me on the wall using those as well. So yes, that's me. I also I have a little another little business about teaching people how to write trailer music as well, specifically trailer music. So Protégé is the big brother. It's teaching them the whole range of music composition and production so that they can really approach their music career in a very targeted but also well-versed manner.
I'm very excited about Protégé because it's not just another music school. You're taking them through the whole entrepreneurial element of it. You're giving them mindfulness and a whole range of things. It's a big package with great impact, I think, for worldwide opportunity. So why are you so excited to be involved with it?
Okay, how long have we got?
Yes.
To answer you, Malcolm, there's just so many aspects that excite me about this whole project. I mean, as you say, the first thing is obviously the fact that I get to share my experience of writing and producing music. The second thing, obviously, is I'm essentially kind of speaking to my former self. I'm kind of saying to my former self, look, I can teach you everything I know now. I can teach you all the writing stuff, all the music production stuff. I can also teach you the music production, the music business side of it. We can also say to you, you know what? There are other things that no one talks about, like you say, mindset. No one talks about mindset when it comes to creative work. And if they do, it's in like a completely separate room. It's almost like a dirty word. You don't want to be like, actually, a lot of creatives suffer from depression. A lot of creatives suffer from excessive negative thinking. And, if you're in a room on your own most of the day, you have to have the tools to be able to cope with that. And a lot of it is simple advice. But I think often it's the simplest advice is the advice that we need to hear repeatedly. Because we think it's simple advice, we ignore it. It's too simple. It can't be that easy. But actually, a lot of the time, it is. So the whole mindset thing, I just love talking about it because also when you finally manage to say those magic words like, yeah, I'm a multi-award-winning composer and I still sometimes think my music sounds bad, to somebody who's starting out, it's like you see the pressure coming off, going, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. And also the other thing is traditional music education is I think, like, and sadly, most education, it's not designed for the life we live now.
No.
So traditional music education is very much like, these are the tools to write in this style, which, okay, some of them you're getting a lot more focused. So you can now get pop songwriting degrees. You can get very focused courses. But what they do is they give you these tools to write and do this stuff, but then they send you out into the open world. It's kind of like just giving a child a map and saying, there's the forest, go. Without giving them the skills to read the map or to know what the forest is and how to navigate it. So what we're trying to do is say, actually, guys, we're not just going to teach you how to write epic cinematic pop or huge orchestral trailing music or swagger rock. We're going to be teaching you how it applies to what we're doing. And then if you do manage to produce something that is of a good enough quality, we will then say, okay, great. Let's get this mixed and mastered and finished so that we can send it out to our network of contacts globally, so you can immediately have an opportunity to earn money from your music. And that stuff, I mean, that took me sort of 7 years before I was able to stop my part-time job and do full-time composing. I say full-time in speech marks because I still don't do full-time hours. And I think that is such a valuable part of it, because they're essentially taking a music apprenticeship. That we're kind of holding their hand through the whole process, and then eventually going, oh, look, whilst we were holding your hand through this process, you could have possibly got a track on a film trailer.
Yeah.
Which to us,
that's the bit that's exciting. Yeah. Isn't
absolutely.
it? Yeah. Because,
absolutely.
you do an apprenticeship. There's not a possibility in some cases you will have a job at the end of it. And it's like going to university and getting a degree. What am I going to do with this now? But at least you're putting them in touch with the contacts, the connections that are so invaluable. And I know how hard it is to get through to those sort of levels that you just ease your way into now. So you're really helping them dramatically. I want to go back to mindset there, because I noticed in my advanced reading about you that you focus a lot on the importance of mindset in delivering success. So what do you mean about that?
Okay, well, delivering success and mindset. Let's go for mindset. I think there needs to be more of a focus on working as a composer for composers, and I think this actually ties in a lot with mental health regarding social media and things like this, maintaining a good mental health and maintaining boundaries. So, for instance, that's one of the pieces of advice that you are going to get repeatedly is establish your boundaries. For instance, if you're going to be writing music, just write your music. Don't go on Facebook. Don't do any of these other things. You've got your slot to write your music. And that boundaries is like a life lesson. Establishing boundaries with your kids, establishing boundaries with your peers, with your friends, your family. It's incredibly important, and actually it makes people feel safe and secure. So I'm going to go so far off a tangent, I'm going to gradually forget what the question was.
Great. The mindset in delivering success is,
yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I think, over the years, I've obviously battled with the many issues that come around with being a composer. Could be constant rejection, and the constant inner critic that you have to deal with. Because, like I said, you're on your own, and you will not necessarily get any feedback from anybody. You could just send a track to somebody. I mean, when I used to do work for advertising, which this was when advertising was my sort of main bread and butter, you would send a track off and you wouldn't hear anything. So you didn't know what you did wrong. And that, obviously it's kind of like this little small levels of rejection kind of really eat away at you. And it's such a blow to the ego to not win a job.
Yeah.
And no one prepares you for that at school. No one, when I say at school, I mean when you do your music training. When I was at university, no one said to me, you know what, actually, no, you've got this goal of being a film composer or composing for films. You need to prepare yourself for that day when you don't get that big job, because that's going to hit you hard. And it's, the first time that really hit me in the face was actually quite early on. It was an advert for the Financial Times. My track was one of two that were being in the running to win the spot. I didn't win the spot in the end. And my response to that, quite naturally, was, I'm obviously not cut out for this. I'm obviously not good enough. And I kind of stopped writing for it wasn't a long time, but it was like a week or 2 weeks, which actually it was quite a long time. And now I know that that's just a perfectly normal reaction from your ego at the rejection. And that's okay, to have that reaction. But what you need to then keep in mind is the positivity, which is a huge positivity and gratitude. Isn't it wonderful that you got the opportunity to do this? So I'm going to start going very woo-woo here. But, when you focus on your level of vibration, your level of happiness, and try and keep that constant, you will find that you end up writing better music. You'll find out you're actually better to be around yourself as well as your friends and family. And it's just, really, really important to stay positive and keep tabs on what you're doing with your mind. And that's why we focus on mindset, so that we keep our composers and our students happy, and so that they know what they need to do to be happy and to produce their best work, because that's what we're trying to get out of them.
Yeah, there's a lesson there for not just composers, though. I mean, we have a complete change now of economy, with a lot more work from home is going to happen. So, and it can get lonely. I totally agree with you there. Look, your shelves and your bookcases must be brimful with all the awards you've brilliantly won. I mean, I was going through the list, and I recognise some of the things. I know Avengers and things like that. And you're certainly at the top of your profession. Now, for those that are aspiring to do that, to mirror your success, what are the top tips that you can give them to becoming a winning composer?
Oh, I'm excited about this one. This is a good one. This is a good question. Well, they're all good, but I like this one a lot. Okay. Now the thing about this is, actually my answers to you are almost all mindset based, and that's why mindset is so important. Because actually, having taught so many people already up to this day, I see it's not always necessarily, and this is also professionally as well, it's not always necessarily the best track or the best composer that wins the job. So it's not necessarily about, you've got to be the best composer in the room. And that's why my 5 tips are mindset based, because the first one is consistency. Like I said, it took me 7 years to go full time. Some composers I know do it much quicker, and we're hoping to help our students do it even within the course. Would be great, wouldn't it? Within the year of teaching. So consistency, and this goes for every endeavor you could possibly do. Without consistency of aim and effort, then you will often fall short of your goals. So first thing they need to do is be consistent, even in the face of failure. When you fail, keep going. Doesn't matter. It's kind of like, it's that old thing, isn't it? You're climbing up a hill. If you fall over, just pick yourself up, keep going.
Yeah.
So consistency, which also I'm going to sneak in a secondary point within point 1, which is keep writing all the time. Just keep doing it. Even if you haven't got a job on at the time, or you haven't got an album that you're working towards, just write, because it's fun and you need to keep that flow going. Second one is openness. Being open-minded to everything.
Right.
And again, life skill, but I think it's really important to be open. And I actually think open in communication too. I think that's very, very important. But with regards to their career, be open to any opportunities that reveal themselves, because sometimes you don't realize it was an opportunity until it's passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
that's true in everything we in business. It's usually, no. Now, what was the question? People have their mindset blocked, don't they? Yeah. Carry on. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why I quite like the mindset stuff, because it seeps into all areas of life.
Yeah.
So if we're going specifically into the music, being open to how your track can develop, being open to the various sounds, and being open to influence from other styles of music. I'm sure a lot of musicians and composers can relate to the fact that, in fact, actually, even people who don't consider themselves musicians, but there is something so very personal about music that you start to relate your identity to the music that you like. No, I don't like that. I like rock music. That's me. I'm a rocker. That's the type of thing you're dealing with. And when you're as a working composer, you have to drop that, because at some point somebody might say to you, yeah, okay, I love your rock track, but can we add some orchestra to it? Right. And if you're open to that, then you might find that you aren't just a rocker. You could actually be a classical composer who's just been in the closet all this time.
Yeah.
And that comes back to being open to opportunities. Sometimes, I didn't intend to become a film trailer composer. My original intention was to be a film composer for feature films,
Right.
which I have dabbled in, but the opportunities to write for film trailers arose, and I thought, well, that sounds like fun. Let's have a go. And here I am today.
Right.
Point three, positivity. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's such a, I know I'm being really vague when I say positivity, but if you don't get an email response, like you say, no, what was the question? If you don't get the response you want, that doesn't mean
No,
that you
keep
haven't.
trying. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And if you get rejected, it doesn't mean your track wasn't good.
No.
Especially like you think about trailer music. For any given trailer, there could be multiple trailer houses cutting multiple edits with multiple tracks. So for one film trailer, there could be 30, 40, 50 trailers being edited at the same time. And you not getting it doesn't mean that you didn't get it because yours wasn't the best.
No. Yeah.
It just wasn't your day, you know?
So you're saying there, don't take it personally.
Absolutely.
It's just no for now. It might be yes the next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's actually one of the reasons I absolutely love working with Vic, because generally he only tells me when I win jobs. So, so it's always like, oh, good news. Yeah.
True friendship.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if he told me every time I didn't win a job, it would be a different story.
Right.
But okay. So on to tip number 4. I'm getting a little bit more music focused with this one, but again, I think this is a life skill: following your enjoyment and your curiosity. And this is again ties into openness and consistency and positivity. If you are just doing the things you enjoy, the energy you will put into it will be far greater than if you are doing something you do not enjoy.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you will not always enjoy the work you do. And there are some elements of my job I wouldn't say I enjoy that much, like very finicky audio editing. It just takes a long time. It's very picky. But if you follow your enjoyment, that energy goes into your music and people hear that. You know, I can hear when someone has enjoyed writing a track. You know, you just get a sense from it.
Are you also saying that you should stretch yourself here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just contain. Yeah.
And that's why I've put curiosity on the end of it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not always the enjoyment that's the important part. It's the part of you that goes, I kind of want to try this. And that goes on a micro level as well as a macro level. You know, that could be actually I don't really want. I want to try writing music for TV shows. Just I mean, that's a big example, but or I want to try writing samba music. Right. Follow that curiosity because you just never know where it will lead you. Whether you make it as a samba composer or whether you take some elements of samba into your hybrid samba heavy metal, you know, it's just so enjoyment and curiosity, the two of them will pull your career forward. It's especially if you're consistent with that.
Yes.
And it's been really the times when I've done those two things in my career is the times when my career stepped up. So the first one being, I can't remember how many years it was now. Vikram, just the very beginning before he started Elephant Music, his trailer music company asked me to write him some piano music. And he'd been asking me for a while. And before I was always thinking about writing in other people's styles, but I thought, actually, you know, I always sit at the piano and play. I'm going to sit at the piano and just play. And what happened was I wrote 50 tracks in 4 weeks, and it became the first 5 Elephant Music albums and has landed countless trailers, TV shows, all sorts of stuff, because I wasn't afraid to follow the enjoyment, because actually I really enjoy writing on piano, and I was curious about doing this stuff, and I was open to his suggestion as well. And the curiosity thing, one time he was doing this album called Throat, and he said, I want something organic, and it's one of those words where I was like, I don't know what you mean. I thought, actually, I'm quite curious. I'm going to get my cello down. started playing my cello. It's just me playing the cello. I'm not a cellist. I just like the sound of it. And what resulted from that was countless TV and trailer placements, loads of, in fact, most of our awards are from the cello-based music that we've written from.
Yes, yeah. It's a bit like at the moment. Sorry, where we're talking to people in business and saying, look, you've got to get online and do video. And oh no, I can't be in the video. And they just have an avatar or something like that. They're not pushing themselves. They're not exploring. They're lacking the curiosity, aren't they? I love that one. So number 5.
Number 5, yes, because you could hear I was going to drag on with that one. Okay, number 5, don't be afraid to get weird. It's similar
Say that again, please. Say that again.
Don't be afraid to get weird.
Get weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Explain.
I am a big believer in knowing your niche, and whether that ties into business marketing, where you know your audience. And how do you know your audience? Because you think about their interests and their likes and dislikes. And what you do when you get weird is you reveal elements of your personality that are going to be divisive. And what they will do is they will go, okay, well, that group of people love that, and that group of people hate it. So you suddenly make clear a path for yourself. Because a lot of people are scared to be divisive in their writing. I'll clarify this in a second.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating, isn't it?
A lot of people are afraid to get weird because of them not wanting to be singled out, which stems from wanting to be part of a group. It's a human instinct, right? Yeah. But with your music, do not be afraid to do weird things and try. It's the same thing, curiosity and enjoyment. Try and do things that you think, oh no, I couldn't do that. That's not a good idea. That's a weird thing. And it's a difficult one. This is a subtle one, because you have to establish whether you're scared to do that weird thing because you're scared of being singled out and revealed for who you really are, or it's a bad idea. So it's a tough one. But that's it. So for instance, if we go back to that cello music, obviously I'm a trained musician, and I can't play the cello. So the idea that I played cello on the album, out of tune and out of time, it made me feel really, I'm going to be picked on because I can't play the cello and I shouldn't be doing it. And actually I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play badly on purpose. And it's going to become the sound, and it became the sound of the albums. I'm not saying the music sounds like someone playing the cello badly. It sounds like music you would hear on a thriller or a horror film trailer. I got weird and it worked. And what happens there is editors love that stuff. They love that stuff. It's got a very clear character, and that's what getting weird does with your music. It makes it bloom into this personification of yourself, so people can suddenly identify your music because you've put that part of yourself in there. You haven't followed a trend. You have gone off the trodden what's the saying? Off the beaten path.
Yeah. But it's been innovative, isn't it?
Yes. And, absolutely. Yeah.
And back in advertising, it was all, who the heck thought of meerkats? It's that sort of weird thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Those 5 points, by the way, I think are terrific learning for any business, not just in music. Just apply them to business as a general. I think thank you very much for that. Look, there's lots of brilliant creatives out there hoping they'll be almost accidentally discovered on TikTok or YouTube. What are they doing wrong? What are they doing wrong? For example, is it they're not creating what the market wants, or do they simply lack commercial ability?
That is a multiple-pronged answer. So some of them aren't doing anything wrong. It's just a case of time. And that comes back to consistency. With things like YouTube and being, I say, discovered in air quotes here, because that might be the thing they're doing wrong, is they're hoping for that kind of day when everything clicks and they rocket to success. success isn't built like that, or at least sustainable success. It's very hard to manage at that rate. So I would say that if they're doing anything wrong there, it's that they are expecting things too quickly. It's a consistency thing.
Yeah.
If they have been doing it for a long, long time, they then need to step back and ask themselves, okay, why am I not getting the results I want on these things? Is it because I'm not clear about my target audience, like you say? Am I getting innovative, getting weird enough to find my people, to find my tribe, to find my community? And if it comes down to just simply a money thing, I would say if they are doing it just for the money, they are doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yes, totally.
The passion, especially with creative work, needs to be there first. I mean, if they want to be doing music and they've been doing it for years on YouTube, but they're still not doing anywhere, getting anything, then perhaps the thing they're doing wrong is they are not being open to other opportunities. For instance, there might be a tiny little whisper at the back of their mind saying, maybe I should launch a podcast instead. Or maybe I should try this Protégé thing. Hey, it's just that there are other avenues to earn money from your music. And that's what we're trying to do with Protégé. We're trying to say, actually, guys, this is an avenue that so many people don't really know about. I mean, because also it's essentially production music, which back in the day was called library music, which I think earned itself a little dirty name for a while. Not for any misbehavior on the company's part, but just because it became associated with lift music, throwaway music that was in the background. But actually these days, well, it always has been big money, but these days, it's changed to being called production music. And that includes film trailer music. That includes music that's on TV. It's huge. And the other name it has is the composer's pension, because of the royalties that you would then ensue. That's not the right word. That you would then get for the rest of your life and your family's lives. If you pass on the copyrights, etc. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, excellent. Yes. Look, in Protégé, you've really embraced technology to deliver this very innovative school there. So give me some highlights of that technology. For example, I believe a central part will be an app.
Yes. Yeah. So one of the things we wanted to do was not only give students the education, the opportunities, we wanted to create a community. And how would you create a community that's spread across multiple countries and multiple continents? You have to do that online. So there's going to be a membership site, which is pretty straightforward. It's kind of like like a lot of membership sites. There'll be forums, there'll be groups. All the courses will be on there, but that can also be accessed through an app on their phone. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we want to give them a sense of togetherness, a sense of community, a sense that they are with the rest of the composers. They're not just doing this on their own and hoping that they'll make it. They're doing it with other people in the same boat. And, I have another membership site called the Trainer Music School where we haven't got the app, but we have the website. And the community there is so close-knit and strong. It's just lovely for me to see. And so many of them have said an app would make this amazing.
Right,
so
yes.
We said with Protégé, which is, again, the big brother of this, we are going to do the app so that they then feel much more connected to those other composers, and also to their tutors and their producers. So, yeah, I think...
I think that's very exciting because, as you say, it does get lonely building up the community, and at those moments when they just need that extra little bit of support, and you can't spread yourself, you and Vic can't spread yourself that wide, it can be the alumni eventually start to do it. Yeah. Look, another question then, please. And I hope I'm not going the wrong way here, but the music industry is notorious for financial duplicity. So my former client, Chaz Chandler, sadly, Jimi Hendrix, Slade and all that, sadly an Animal, sadly no longer with us. He told me one day he left the successful Animals with just £100 in his pocket. And that £100 he'd won in a poker game. All the other money he'd earned from the Animals, who were bigger than one time than the Beatles, everything had been stolen. So how do you intend to guide your students through the minefield of such financial traps and avoid things like wrong buyouts, copyright stealing, and so on?
That in itself is a very, very in-depth course, isn't it? Now, one of the ways we're going to approach this is Vikram, with all his music business experience, is going to be delivering business courses every week. So each week there is a specific music-related brief. So and each week has its own music course, and on top of that we have some tools for their mindset, and we also have business advice that will be related to the brief, the weekly brief. So he's going to be giving all his advice on copyrights, contracts, licensing, that whole business side of things. Now, the sad thing about that story is that, yes, that was common and probably is still happening. But we're working in production music. So what happens there is you keep your 50% writer share. So what happened with that stuff was, it's a little bit hard to explain, really. It's the contracts that they would have signed would have been quite different. So it's kind of like, and also, the artists of the 60s would have had a completely different business surrounding them to today's music licensing businesses. They are almost separate entities. So what happens here is it all comes down to the contracts. And if Vic can give them the advice to steer away from dodgy contracts, it doesn't necessarily, and the sad truth is having a foolproof contract does not mean that you will not be swindled.
Yes. In any type of business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we can't prevent that from happening. And we could advise them going forward. But sadly, you can still be swindled even if you have a decent contract, unless you're willing to foot up the money to take that person to court. This is getting very dark, Malcolm. Now.
I know, but it is part of, I deal a lot with creatives. I look after ceramics, IT, painters, and so on. A lot of people, and trying to help them commercialize their output, should we say there. And most of them, so many of them are frightened of moving into the real world, and so a brilliant painter suddenly finds himself tied up with a guy who's just there to rip him off and take his pictures away. And so I like the fact that what you're doing is saying, let's put some business sense into you students, whether you choose to adopt it or not. But you're giving them, with Vic in particular there, a huge leg up in the business world, the business of music. And it's the business of music, I think, that the Protégé is actually delivering compared to the arty type of world of stuff that they can get in academia, which doesn't actually take them into the business of music.
No, absolutely. And I just want to pick up on a point you just mentioned there about people being scared. There is a problem of fear being rife around contracts. And I found myself doing this. When I would get sent a contract from a new company, they would send it to me. I would be filled with fear that they were going to be taking my money, taking my copyright, taking everything. I'd send it to a solicitor who would rip the contract apart, and I'd send it back to the company, and the company would say, well, how are we supposed to license your music if you're not going to let us do this? And I realized that what I was doing was actually, I was filling myself so much with fear that I was willing to stop this opportunity happening. And the truth of the matter is, if you put your music online, your music can and will be stolen.
Mm-hmm.
What your definition of stolen is, and this applies to photography, any visual or audio, people will take your stuff and put it somewhere. If you're going to put it online, that's one of the things you have to face. And that's why you have your publishers and your producers controlling an element of the copyright so that they then have the clout to chase that when that happens.
Right.
And my personal advice as a creative, is to let go of the fear a bit.
Mm.
I was so scared of being done over by a bad copyright contract that I barely saw any opportunity that came to me as the opportunity. I saw it as an attack, and it shouldn't be. It's at the end of the day, if someone wants to sell your music, it's because they want to make money and they want to make you money. And I'm not saying you should go into every contract with open arms, but
but
it's a level head.
It's a good lesson that you've just given to people there. And I think perhaps that relates back into your 5 points as well. It's keep writing, so it doesn't matter if you lose that one, if you've got that much more coming along there. I love the fact that you say you help students work up an idea into a licensable end product. Okay.
Yep.
So how do you go about helping that in the workplace or the mentoring? How do you divide the workload between you and Vic within Protégé? Do you follow a set path of development, or are you going to be customizing it per each student?
That's actually a very, very good question. There will be we have producers helping us as well, and the way it will work, it will be different from one track to another, from one composer to another. So this is the one thing that we are teaching Protégé that, again, is not ever really talked about. You might be able to write an absolutely stunning piece of music, but can you take feedback and change that piece of music according to the feedback?
Right. Yeah.
So I've worked with some incredibly talented composers who just who almost refused to do the things I asked. I'd say, at 40 seconds, take out that sound, and they would leave it in. And I remember doing the same thing, because I'd sit back and be like, hold on, this is my music. I'm not changing it. And the ego gets in the way. So what will happen there is it's about the composer learning to be open, learning to respond to feedback positively. Because actually what you're doing, and what I do professionally, I'm not an artist. I am supplying a service. I am writing music for a publishing company who then sell it for me. And they are doing their jobs to make my music as sellable as possible. So in future, if anyone's listening and they're getting feedback from a publisher, listen to them, because they generally know what people want and what people don't want. So the process will be such that they will submit demos once a week. Those demos will then be cherry-picked. They will all get feedback. Each track will get feedback. And then the best ones will be cherry-picked and will be taken on the production line, essentially. So say for instance, Malcolm, you submitted a track. We loved it. We'd say, right, Malcolm, we're going to put you on this album with this track. And then we'll start the production process where we would give you feedback, ideally around 3 rounds of feedback to get the track licensable. But that depends on how easily you take the critical feedback. So it could be that we give you all the points that need to be actioned, you action them beautifully, and your track is done after 1 round. And it could be 9 changes. So
you do realise that my track would be a rip-off from Roy Orbison or Demis Roussos or anything like that in the past, don't you?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. Hey, then we get our copyright lawyer on.
Yeah. Listen, you've got a wonderful expression, a really wonderful expression about networking, and you call it nerding out. Nerding out. What is it? Come on, how does it work?
Okay, that's kind of like getting weird. Okay, nerding out is just talking about the things you're passionate about. Because what happens when you talk about things you're passionate about is you exude this lovely aura, right? And people who share that passion will naturally come towards it. And you must have had this when you've gone to, actually, let's not even talk about business, well, a party. You go to a
Yeah.
party and you just meet someone and you click and you start talking about something impassioned, full
Yeah.
of passion and life. And that's what nerding out is. Specifically nerding out, you could say that I'm talking specifically about very specific music production things, like let's talk about this reverb plugin and we get excited about a reverb plugin, or let's talk about this make of Fender guitars and we get excited about this Fender guitar. And actually what you're doing when you're networking, and this is the problem with the word networking makes it sound like it's some kind of operation. You're not doing networking, you're building a relationship. And what do you build a relationship upon? Shared interests. That's what you're doing. So if you can nerd out, which means get excited about a shared interest, then that is going to pay dividends. And in fact, a good friend of mine, Kieran Birch, who's a very successful trailer composer, he has had some incredible opportunities through things like Twitter when he has just nerded out with someone online and they have said, oh, my friend has a trailer music company. Can I submit your demos? Okay. And then boom, he's landing huge trailers.
Right. Incredible. Listen, you've won lots of awards from big names. So before we finish, give me 3 of all your top producers, your top winnings that you're most proud of.
Oh, I do like this question because do I name the ones that everyone knows, or do I name the ones I'm secretly proud of because they were the weirdest ones? I would say I was very, very proud to have my music on Captain America Civil War trailers. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I love the Captain America character, his righteousness, his constant perseverance. I always relate to that. That was a big day for me because, I could nerd out about Marvel. So, Captain America. And also, I landed a TV spot, which is another word for a TV trailer, or for a horror film called Mother, which stars Jennifer Lawrence. And that was one of my cello pieces from the album Throat 2, and it was one of the pieces of music I was most proud of because I did that was where I sort of went against the grain, and I did the things I was scared of. I played notes that were out of tune. I did rhythms that weren't what I would specifically use. I just tried all these weird things. I didn't stick to this traditional structure of a trailer music track, and that spot won me and Vic an award. So we were very proud of that, and it's been placed loads of times, and I just love listening to it. And it was loads of fun to produce. So that's my second one. And my third one, I'd have to say my first big job, which was Cathedral City Cheese.
Cathedral City Cheese? What's that?
Oh, yeah. It's Cathedral City Cheese. It's
yes. Yes. No, I've got it now. Yeah, right.
Yes.
My mindset was looking at films and everything like that, but
no.
But we have to forget there's a big market in adverts, aren't they?
Oh, adverts pay big money. Very, very competitive. Because you're not. You're even more aware of the fact that you're not just going against composers, you're going against the back catalogue of every single record label in the world. And the amount of adverts I lost out to Queen. Oh, Queen. Because you hear Queen stuff all over the adverts.
But now you're the champions, you and Vic, aren't you? So.
Yeah, that's it. Although you make sure it didn't sound too similar. So
Richard, can you please give me a final Protégé message to those who've got the aspirations to be successful like you, but at the moment are uncertain?
Okay, guys, speaking to you out there whose main passion is music. You find yourself tapping glasses at the dinner table. You find yourself giving every excuse you can to make sounds during the day. You find yourself wanting to write music. You might be making the time to do it. You might be even getting some tracks out there, maybe getting some interest in them. what we want to do is to help you. We want to help you explore the sounds that you love, explore the music that you love, and get your music out there, not just out there in the sense of online, but out there so that maybe you could land a big Hollywood trailer, maybe you could land a big TV show, so that your music is being used in the way that you envisage it. Because it's one thing having a passion for music, but then taking that passion and turning it into a sustainable career. That's what we want to do at Protégé.
I think Protégé is a brilliant concept, and I wish you and Vic the real best of luck for it.
Thank you very much, Malcolm.
Okay, Richard, now I'd just like to do 2 little slots, please. One is going to be about Silverponerse. That's for people aged 50 plus thinking about getting into the music business. They may be made redundant, they may be whatever has happened to them in life. It's a silverpreneur who may think it's not for them. Okay. So, hi, Richard. One thing that we've got that we're very proud of is called Silverponerse, and this is to encourage people aged 50 plus to start a new business, to think of a new career. Is the music business open to 50 plus?
Yeah, the music business is by no means ageist in the slightest. We already have students and composers who are 50 plus and are finally putting their hand to the music that they wanted to write. And you know what the wonderful thing is? Their music is phenomenal because they have the kind of the urgency and the passion, and that's the thing about it. It's not necessarily that they're of that age group. It's that they are delivering good music, and that's what we want to hear. That's what everybody in the music industry wants to hear. They want to hear good music, and it's been really lovely because the thing I found is the patience. At that age group, they have the patience to sit back and learn and are open to the learning. I find myself running around a bit like a mad hatter, or a little magpie perhaps. But a couple of my students who are in that age group just sit through the courses, are really patient, and you know what? They produce great work. And we've had a few of them published through Elephant Music. So,
excellent, thank you. So, Silverponerse, new opportunity there. Okay, Richard, let's do the one on talk about export and the importance of the music industry. And again, I think it's the importance of positioning Protégé as being, a catalyst for export.
Okay, just before we, sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, carry on.
You were going to say, but particularly, I just wanted to make sure you're going to say the thing.
Yeah. Right. It's particularly post-Brexit, where the whole of the emphasis for the economic recovery of the UK has got to be on export, and music is a hidden invisible earnings, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I'd really like to talk about how important or how the UK music industry is regarded globally. Yeah. Okay. And what you're doing at Protégé, we can blend that in. So
I'll do my best, Malcolm.
Yeah, you'll do it brilliantly. I know that. Just talk about how we respect it. So, I love what Protégé are doing, Richard, because you're creating a whole new series of entrepreneurs in the music business who are then going to be selling their product, if that's the expression, or creativeness, worldwide. How important is the music business, do you think, to British export, and how are we perceived in places like Hollywood?
Yeah, the wonderful thing about being British in the music industry is that actually we have a very, very respected music history. Still to this day, we are globally respected for our music output. And that does pay dividends. The one thing I'd say about it is just trying to find the most clear way of saying this, Malcolm. Right. It's kind of like ripples in a pond, and that's what you really want from an export business. Is that doesn't just give you one element. the thing with music is it's the residuals. You know, it's you're not just getting necessarily one big payout for one shipment or one single product. This one single product that I produce now could consistently earn money for the rest of its copyright lifetime. And also, once once the composer passes away, it then passes to the composer's estate, which continues to bring money for that estate. It's not just the composer's pension; it's the government's pension too.
Yes, yes.
Royalties, and that's the other side of it is the ability to have more freedom. So I only work a few hours a day, and I have I would say a considerable disposable income because of my music, which, you know what, means that I spend more money in town and spend more money online and buy, so the money is coming in and it's staying in, and I, also paying freelancers to do work as well. And this is just me, imagine if Protégé then trains up tons of other composers who then, and the ripples in the pond will be huge.
It's a fantastic opportunity people have, but also there's this commercialism that you're going to deliver from them. So we're still regarded as great in the world, are we?
Oh, big
There's
time.
still a Great Britain around. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great idea for exporting. Richard, thank you very much indeed for all your time today. I've thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you and Vic, and I've got lots of editing to do now, haven't I?
Yeah, you have. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed for giving me your time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Malcolm. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, take the rest of the day off.
Yeah. Oh, I will.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye-bye.